What's up, guys? This is Moses here hosting this first episode of Tradition and Modern Talks. Guys, we have a series today. We're starting for the first time, starting in 2023. Happy New Year. Hope you guys enjoyed your New Year so far into January. I'm just wanting to make it clear that I have taken some time away to work on some things personally. My father passed away, just be aware, and my niece passed on Christmas Eve. It's been a lot of things dealing with, so thank you for being patient with me and knowing the times that I've been through. It's just been a lot of stuff that I had to deal with before I can come back and be mentally prepared for this, because it's not easy talking about that and going through all that stuff at the time. So thank you for the guys who are supporting, and thank you for being part of this journey with me. I appreciate you. And yeah, so we're going to get this started, guys. So we're going to have this topic today. We're talking about the series right now is wealth. Health is wealth. And I decided to reach out to one of these brothers that I've been knowing them since I was like in my early 20s, actually, since I was with my parents. And the funny thing is we met through, it was church related. We met through a ministry, and it was some history from there on, because I've always called this guy for advice, and he was always open to give me this wisdom and just be like a father figure and a big brother, and I think he's grown exceptionally well for himself. So guys, the myth, the legend, without further ado, Dawains Atkins. What's up, brother? How you doing?
What's up, people? What's up, Moses? So happy to be here. Excited for you, brother.
Yes, definitely having you is a blessing, bro. I'm thankful, man, having you, because it's been a minute, man. I have not thought about doing a show with you, I'll be honest. And now since we're doing it, it's finally happened. I'm thankful because I've seen your podcast. Tell us a little about your podcast.
Which one?
Well, which one you got first? That's the one you want to speak on. It's been helpful to you in your journey.
No, legit. So again, my name is Dawains Atkinson, host, founder of the BAR podcast. BAR stands for Biblical and Reformed. Also the founder, CEO for BAR Podcast Network, which is a network of podcasts. I've been doing that for about 6 years. And the reason why I say which one, because I recently started a fitness podcast, which I do just kind of my daily drive to the gym, which I know we're going to talk about that later. But that's a podcast that I do and I enjoy. And also I work full-time for a fitness program where I also am the executive producer of all of their podcast content as well. So very familiar with podcasting. It is part of my regular job now. I was going to say 9 to 5, but it's definitely outside of those hours for sure. But that's my dealing right now with podcasting.
Awesome, bro. That's awesome to hear. See, the thing about you, I've always followed your content for a while before I was matured in the faith. I was a baby Christian at the time. So Dawains has been a big part of my growth, to be honest with you guys. And I think Dawains been the most open believer, especially knowing I've been through like 2 churches before when I moved to Texas. I was in the one church. That was another story. We'll leave that for later. And then another church that he's aware of, the Village Church. And through him, he helped me get there. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, I have never had that type of help from somebody so kind as he is. And guys, if you want to reach out to a man that's motivational and encouraging, Dawains is the man. Don't sleep on Dawains, man. I'm telling you right now, he's in the fitness field. He's gonna get you right. I already know for a fact, man. And I think we're gonna dig deep dive with this first question. What is first thing I want to know is, what is health and wealth to you as a person? Knowing that, can you hear that?
Yeah, man. So I mean, just as people, we tend to seek after wealth. We tend to want things, just as a culture. That's why the prosperity gospel is so famous. That's why people go for all the get rich quick schemes. That's why everybody want to be a content creator. We put a lot of value in money and things and items, and we follow the people. We follow, it's people that's following yacht accounts and Bentley accounts, and they're nowhere near that, but they're aspiring. But what I found is that kind of wealth, those things, that money, is temporal. It goes and it comes. It's something that you can chase, but there's really no benefit. Or you can chase those things and achieve those things, but if you leave out what we're going to talk about, which is health, it won't benefit you. You can be a billionaire, and if you don't have your health together, if you don't have just good heart rate, good cardiovascular, if you don't have those things, you can't even enjoy the wealth. So I think health is wealth. When I hear that term, it puts value where value should be. Value should be on your physical body. I made a post on Friday saying we're given one earthly physical body, and we should take care of it. And there's no need. I mean, you can heap up all the things, but if you don't have your physical health, you don't have your health, your mental health, you don't have your spiritual health, none of that stuff matters. None of those things matter. None of the things you chase, you like, you follow, it don't matter, man, unless you're physically able to enjoy it, physically able to not only gather those things, but also be a giver.
Yeah.
My goal is to be in a place where I can give more, not that I can heap up more. And in order to do that, I have to be physically able to do that, man. And so when you say the phrase health is wealth, that just, to me, that sounds like someone that has their priorities in the right place, where they put wealth equal to their health, because that is super important.
Man, that's a beautiful way you put it. I definitely agree with you, especially when you made being a giver is such a vital part of us, especially if to my people out there who are not believers in God, I understand, but being a giver in life is also important, because when we see the thing about giving, I've studied these different people online to speak about it. It just there's a teaching I heard saying a taker is a selfish person, a giver is a selfless person. And it's funny because the givers usually have a longer life because they're knowing how to understand people, that it's not about them, it's about other people who they're connecting with that are not like them, that can get the benefits. And also they're not just giving off of it just so they can feel good. It's more of a, when you help somebody, God is watching that to help us on our journey in the future. If we need that type of help, we don't know it, we don't ask for it, it just happens because usually God allows it. If that's correct, do you think that's how it works? So some people don't maybe saying that differently, but what do you think of how I just said it? Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense. It's a general principle of
Yeah.
giving and receiving. I find that a lot of people that clench, that try to hold tight, are the ones that
Mm.
can't keep handle on their money. The ones that don't want to hold everything close to chest. And I always make a joke, when you see people walk around with their hands closed like this, that means they stingy. They don't want to they don't want to give it up. But those are always the people that are scrapping to get it. But the people that are more generous, just in general, just tend to because I hate to say it, but they call money currency, man, because it flows. It flow out, it flow back in, man. You try to stop it, that can stop something, or stop a blessing, or stop something coming from your way.
Man, currency, that's funny word of using that term. I didn't think about it like that. Currency, like a flowing water, it keeps flowing.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being stagnant with your money, you're like a swamp stuck in one place. All your money just builds up, and it's like it gets mucky, it gets bad, it doesn't look good.
Yep.
Like like a swamp. That's a good way to put it. The currency keeps flowing.
Mm-hmm.
It never stops. So with that being said, so curious question going to this next part. With your health journey, I remember you were going through your journey. So what were you doing to get to where you are now? What did you go through before? What was you doing that wasn't working? And then you thought, this is something I've been doing for years, and you got to now the better health before we get to the health that you got first. What did you get first in the wealth? I mean, in the health before the wealth.
Well, so I guess kind of a background, grew up an athlete, play ball, all of that stuff. So,
And see,
I knew things. I went to school for physical education, exercise science, all of that. So I knew things, man, and that, unfortunately, that knowledge became pride, and I thought that I could outwork a bad diet, pretty much. Getting older, I hit my 30s, and I thought I could outlift a bad diet. I thought I could, outbench a bad diet. Like I would go to the gym every day, clang and bang every single day. But what turned it around when I found the program E2M was the diet, man, figuring out how to eat, when to eat, how much to eat. Whenever that part clicked in is when my body started to change. And once my body started to change, then, just a whole new world opened up. I was able to, get down, lost 65 pounds, energy up, strength up, everything like in the positive. Like before I would join the program, I was pre-diabetic. I was, one doctor from blood pressure medicine, all of that stuff, man. And to now where, my new doctor is like, man, I haven't seen numbers like these, since I've been in this area, just because the South is just known for obesity and overweight and hypertension. And so that transition in my life and in my body just opened up just a whole stream of other things, man, that I was preparing for. I had the work ethic. I needed to let go of my pride and embrace, a new idea. And once I embraced that new idea and put it to practice, then it all worked out.
Man, the way you put that, I'm glad to hear that you didn't go to diabetes, because that's one of those things my father battled, and it can be reversed. People don't know that it can be reversed. Yeah.
Yep.
And thank God you don't have it, but if you had caught it, you would have, if you have known the information you learned today, you would have been able to reverse that, right?
Yep. Yeah, no, we get hundreds of messages almost daily of people that no longer on diet. So there's it depends on type 1, type 2, of course. Type 1 is kind of it's something that you inherit. It's not something you can cure, but type 2 is something that you can cure, that you can reverse. So if you change your diet in a healthy way, you can reverse type 2 diabetes. You can reverse high blood pressure, hypertension. All kinds of things, man. So, I'm grateful to God that I didn't get to that level, but I'm also grateful that, I was able to turn it around. And even if I did, I think about, like, my mom and dad just joined the program this past round. And so I'm excited to see what's going to happen for them, as far as well. So, it's never too late. It's never too late to get on your health kick. It's never too late to get focused. Never too late to turn things around.
Amen. Oh man, that's awesome. Shout out to your folks, man. I'm glad to hear that, because man, mines are not trying to do it, but my father, recipes, he didn't get to do it. My mom is, kind of stuck on that whole like culture, because the thing about this show, we talked about tradition and modern stuff. You said the South, right? The South history has been always about eating fatback, hog maw, fatback, hog jaw, all them chitlins. I never had chitlins. I'm from the north. I'm from Minnesota. I'm from the suburbs state where we next to the North Dakota. Where's where I'm from. It's not even nothing else for that. We don't even do that. So what's the traditional food that well, not food, but the traditional views that you've seen with the history in the South, that you knew that from what you studied that you weren't supposed to be eating, that you now learned today that it wasn't never helping the community, especially in the Black community, that was never going to progress to be better as humans?
Pork is always high on the list because there's less nutritional value, and it leads to a lot of those things. The things you just named are all pork products, which it comes out of necessity, because in the South, for during slavery, that's all that was left to them, and that tradition passed on to other Blacks, where they had to eat the swine. Everybody else ate the steak and all of that, so they had to eat what was left. Not to say, for those that were in that time, it didn't affect them like that. They were more active. So now we got the same meals, but less active people sitting around watching TV and all of that. And that's why we see the adverse effect on the Black American culture. And then just the whole cooking with flavor, there's nothing wrong with flavor, but, adding sugar to everything and adding, fat back to everything and just having that. But what I've learned, man, is you can eat healthy without sacrificing flavor. There's so many different alternatives to, like different dry spices and seasoning that are like 0 calorie that you can add that flavor, man. But in the South, the pork is big. And bread is another big thing. My dad, he before now, he wouldn't eat a meal without a biscuit. Like, if you didn't have a biscuit on the table, he was like, bro, like, you ain't got me no biscuit. This ain't no meal. Like, you need to come correct. And it couldn't be cornbread. It had to be a biscuit. But yeah, bread, pork, and then sweet drink, all of those. Yeah. Sweet, Kool-Aid, that
sugar water, pretty much.
Red flavored Kool-Aid, all of that stuff. It has adverse effect on the body long term. But here's what I want to say is you can still enjoy those things in moderation. Once you understand discipline and get things under control, like I still like, once a week I might eat bacon, I still enjoy those things. But you have to understand moderation. Once you're able to control your appetite, control your urges, understand what's good for you, what's not, and set aside a date and a time that you want to enjoy those things, it cannot hurt you. So my philosophy is the same way out of shape, overweight person can't eat one salad and be happy and be healthy. I mean, that same way a fit person can't eat one bad meal and be unfit. So that same philosophy applies on both ends.
Man, that's awesome. And in saying those things you mentioned, bread, sugar water, high fat food, especially pork. I mean, I believe, and I've done my studies, I believe what you're saying is true because there's a lot of stuff being pushed about unhealthy eating. It's been more cheaper. One thing in the Black community that's very popular, which is not just Black people only, it's all cultures, of course, popular because it's cheap. Is canola oil.
Yeah.
I've really studied that, and this is something I'm reading off a co-founder. Shout out to Dr. Axe. That's off his website. I'm about to read it real quick. It says rapid seed oil is made from the rapeseed. Whoops, what is that? Rapeseed plants, specifically from the seed of the. It says grape. It says the R word, so it's like grape or rapeseed plant. I don't know why is it one word? It should say rapeseed instead of the R word. I don't know why it says that. The rapeseed plant, which is a member of the mustard seed family, which is canola then. It was early back in 1970 when the canola was first bred from the rape seed at the University of Manitoba in Canada by Keith Dawains and Baldur R. Stephenson. So I guess from that time, canola was popular because it was such a cheaper brand, I guess. And it's not even a real oil. It's from a seed that's pretty much taken from that. And then I guess they toxify it, from my understanding, because the history behind it is very bad. It's not even the oil that's healthy. It's actually toxic. It goes to the toxicity of like gas, for cars. And I'm gonna name these oils off just because people may not know. It's been incorporated into our foods, especially with a lot of our products having the ingredients of seed oil, what's it called? Palm oil, anything oil that's not like the avocados and the other oils is better. So canola oil, alfalfa oil, corn oil, cotton oil, soybean oil, sorghum oil, sugar beets, and wheat. Those plants are used for the process of our oils to put in our foods. And the top dangers with these, Dwayne, I wanted to bring up is there's 6 dangers. It gives kidney and liver problems, and also life-threatening heart troubles, hypertension and strokes, which my father fell victim to that, unfortunately, and also may retard normal growth. May retard, I guess that's what it means. May retard normal growth. Increase the intake of unhealthy trans fat, and last but not least, numerous potential GMO health side effects with toxicity, allergic reactions, immunosuppression, and cancer and loss of nutrition. So, what do you think about the canola oil on the scene in our food a lot? Because I know you've seen it in most of our ingredients. Because you can look it up, and most people put canola oil in like our like a nutrition bars or your popcorn. What do you think about that?
So, I mean, as far as oils go, I don't like, like you mentioned, we're used to just using it and having it. But the funny thing is like animal oil or, things like that is actually better.
Yeah.
And a lot of people went away from it thinking that, animal fat, and all of that was bad, like fat plus fat, but that's actually animal is actually better than the canola oil and those that are genetically created or whatever. But for me, I don't use much, if any, olive, if anything, but olive burns really fast. And then, all natural butter, if anything, because I really use that stuff, man. But it's just important that people that we understand why we eat stuff and where it comes from, and why we do stuff. A lot of times we cook certain ways because that's the way our mama taught us, and that's the way their mama taught them, and that's it's a tradition. And it reminds me of an old story, man. I love to tell it. This man bought his wife a brand new ham, brought it in, and I was like, babe, I bought you this ham, cook this ham. So she got the ham, she cut the tip off of it, put it in the oven, and threw the tip away. The husband was like, why you cut the tip off the ham? Like, that's a good piece. She's like, I don't know. My mom cut the tip off the ham. So they call mom and say, hey, mom, my husband want to know why we cut the tip off the ham when we cook it. She's like, I don't know. My mom used to cut off the tip. So they called grandma. Got grandma on the phone. Grandma, why we cut off the tip of the ham? She said, baby, my pan wasn't big enough for the whole ham, so I had to cut the tip off so it fit in the oven. So they started doing a tradition that made no sense, but it's just because somebody else started it out. Grandma started it years ago. So we have to be knowledgeable of what we are doing and why we're doing it, because it could be something that, you know, using that oil as an example, that somebody else taught us to do that we shouldn't be doing it.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, that's true. You know, the funny thing about the repeating of history is that it's funny. I think you know this pretty clear. There's nothing new under the sun, the Bible says. You know, it repeats itself and it's nothing new. It's like, I'm sure there's someone doing the same thing out there where they've seen a big mama take that grease and put it into the mason jar and then say, oh, we're going to keep our grease in this cupboard. Don't know why they're doing it just because big mama did it. It's like you have to remember you're the product of what your environment teaches you, and you're repeating it in a sense. I think it's very subtle. It's very intuitive that we as people just understand our family's history and what was done in front of us to know why we're copying a certain way of thinking, how we act, and how we treat people. It does go back to that family mindset. How do our families treated us before we knew this is something they did in front of us? We didn't know why, but there's always that notion that we never asked that question. Why did we follow what our mama and our dad did? Because we just did because, yeah. Go
So
ahead.
there's a tradition also, just that I've learned recently, man, from old time is, you know, they had so much respect for the elders that they didn't question them.
Right.
And that's where that came from. And there's some value in that, to respect elders, but you know, there's some value in that too. But I'm the Google age. Like if you tell me something, even my dad, like he tell me something, I'd be like, Dad, no, that's not right. Like, let me Google that real quick, bro. Like you just can't tell me it, you know. That's the age we live in, man. That, you know, but back in the day, there was no Google, you know, so they actually took and trusted the word of the elders, which we can't fault them for that, because you know, I said there's some value in respecting the elders and trusting elders, but you know, we also have to, like you mentioned, you know, do our own research and find our own way and make sure that we're not doing stuff just because.
Exactly. No, absolutely. We got to definitely make sure to take a note on what they're doing and just take a step back and say, something about this ain't right, Mom and Dad. We can respect each other, but I can't take your advice, even though you do have some advice in some areas. Like the saying goes, you can help me in certain parts of your life that may be knowledgeable, but not everything is redeemable, as they say, right? I think it's good to know that because even people who are not Christians, I've had good advice from people for certain things in my life who advised me in areas that I needed help on, you know, and it gave me help, and that's what I needed. And I didn't know the knowledge they had was helpful to my life in areas that it wasn't spiritual matter, it's more of a natural matter that was helpful to me to be able to advance in areas where I wasn't able to understand on my own knowledge, because I didn't have to have someone just exactly like me to know the knowledge to understand it. And I mean that because we need people who are not like us to understand. I don't believe in just echo chambers, you know. And I know traditionally back in the day they say the village helps the you know, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, sometimes the village may not know a lot. You might step out your village, you know, and that's saying. And I get it. In the faith, we have that view that we need to have the believers in Christ. I believe that's true. We do need believers around us to talk about things. But I think we should be open to hear other people's perspectives who may not be like us. And we can be respectful and disagree about certain things, but it should be opening to our thoughts to know if we could see this person as a human, why don't we just see what they have to say? You know, why be so quick to cut them off as people? Let's be people first before we're talking about views on faith. You don't have to trust me in my faith, but trust me as a human first. I want to know what you're about, because I think that's more important to know where you're standing to help me in a matter that you may need help on. Maybe I could speak on that may not be faith related. It may be life related, you know, because sometimes health is a big thing that people are not talking about. They're just struggling and think they got it all together, but you can have all the money and still lose your soul to yourself because you thought you knew what's best. And
Yeah.
that's such a big deal. And before we go any further to that next part, I wanted to name off something to help somebody out there who are listening. Here are some oils that we would recommend. It's of course animal fat. He said one, and the other ones I recommend is coconut oil, cook with and use to cook with your food, olive oil, Make sure you get a brand that's actual from Italy, a olive oil brand, ghee or organic pasture raised butter, which is grass fed butter. Um, I would say avocado oil, and that's it. And I mean, be sure to look for that because those guys, oil is a big part of our is a part of our health. Even if we don't eat every day, we cook with it, especially when we're frying food. I mean, I don't know if you ever had fried chicken and avocado oil. That's like the best thing I ever had. I mean, I felt the nutrients through that one. And I really want people to understand that it does make a difference, especially when you put your body through that healthy product that you need to keep your body going through longevity. But back to what I was saying, yeah. So with people you've encountered on your journey, what's it been like with the mindsets you've seen with the health and eating correctly versus the ones that are incorrectly eating? How's that been with that journey? Who you've encountered?
So as the phrase go, man, as you change, sometimes your friends change.
Oh, that's
And
true.
and so as I'm on this, I guess you could say health journey or whatever, the friends that I brought along or wanted to come along, we're pushing and going together. And those that chose not to, we just have a little bit less to talk about, and it, no knock on them. I always wish them the best and root for them however I can. That's just who I am. But they always say surround yourself with people that are going in the direction you want to go, or people that are where you want to be. And so, whatever those circles may be, if you're the biggest dog in the circle, then you need a new circle. You need some circle, we have some people that can stretch you and grow you and help mature you. And so my, kind of my mentor right now, man, is my boss, man. He's
Nice.
retired military guy, built this fitness program, a multi-million-dollar program, as well as owner of a few restaurants and have his own meal prep program coming out. Just huge entrepreneur, built it while being active service in the military, and now he's retired. And so just seeing that side of the world, man, just kind of open up like more possibilities for me, because if you don't see it, you don't know that it's even there. You don't know you can strive for it, man. And just seeing him, just the business decisions and, carrying the weight of, employees. Because a lot of times you work for people or work for a company and you don't know the CEO. Like the CEO, he's somewhere, working hard or whatever, but you don't know him. Like you don't feel the weight that he feel. You feel like okay, I'm an employee, I'm gonna show up and do my job, I'm gonna go home. But with this business, because of my relationship and because of where I am in the company, I'm actually able to see the weight and the stress that he has on his shoulder, for the company. And so that in itself grows me as well. It makes me hustle harder, make me work harder, just to see him able to handle that. And we're pretty much the same age. That's another thing. It's not like he's a 50-60-year-old man vet in the game. No, he's 41, just like me, just a couple of months older than me. And so that also inspires me to grind hard and go hard and just continue to grow and progress, man. And so for those that aren't in that same vein, I got nothing but love for him, man. But I don't have a lot of time for him. That's the thing. Like your time is super valuable. And so you have to be really picky on who you decide to give it to. And if people don't respect it, and if people, want to come in that time frame and they're not talking positive, they're not talking about progression, all we can do is complaining, then you have to limit that time with them. You have to say, hey, I much rather spend my time with somebody that's going to either give me something to help me grow or give me something that's going to challenge me or give me something that's going to uplift me, man. So you just have to learn how to separate the two.
It's funny when you say that. I thought about Bruce Lee. The one thing he quote, I remember putting on my door. Every time I go out my door when I go to work or go somewhere, I look at my door. It says, it's on my door I'm looking at right now. It says, should you be practicing right now? It's like, are you practicing? Yes. It's like a line chart. If it says yes, keep practicing. No, find someone better, or etc. It just talks about practicing every day. And that's a key thing to have, especially when you're dealing with people who are excelling ahead of you. That's always been the narrative for people to understand. Bruce Lee was not gonna just stop for one person. He has to continue to learn from others. Even though he created Wing Chun, he did continue to excel in other things like the movies and I guess making his brand expand. And his daughter, shout out to Shannon Lee, she did the most for her father's passing and made a brand more out there. You know, even through other things besides just martial arts, even through internet stuff, the gaming and people being motivated by his ways. He's still inspiring people to this day, and he's passed 50 plus years. But Dwayne, I think it's another good question in my mind I want to ask you. Since you said friendships sometimes some end because of some views are not the same, would you say if the fitness world the way it is today, bro? Because I know traditionally back in the day they used to exercise a little bit different, but today's modern times, what would you say has been the difference from back in the past you've seen with the gold gyms? Now today's modern gym is more of a CrossFit athletes versus back in the day all the weights, no calisthenics it wasn't popular back then. It wasn't really a bigger deal. But today it's like, oh, we can do everything. Our body weight can make us stronger versus just lifting the weights is what we're given. What do you think about the difference now today?
I mean, it just comes with education, man. The way is the way until somebody discovers another way. When Gold's Gym was the thing, everybody wanted to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like that's the whole thing came out of the bodybuilding competition. All the things that bodybuilders did to get huge. That's what everybody modeled after. That was what they chase. And which is ironic because you talk about Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was an elite athlete, and not many people aspired to be Bruce Lee in their physique. They more or less aspired to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. And so that's where that era came from, man. And so just over the development of time and development of knowledge and science and understanding things, figuring out, somebody being crazy enough to try something different and then seeing results from it. And then that becomes a thing, man, whether it's body weight, whether it's circuit training, which what we specialize in, or whether it's, like you said, CrossFit, all of those different avenues, because they all have their own like results. They all will get whatever your body you desire, there's a track for it. So if you want the bodybuilding body, there's a way that you can go about it, which is banging all the weights, whatever. If you want the lean, slender, or if you want the bulky, like there's different ways. And so we learn over time, through people developing different things, different moves, different exercises that can execute those things. And so that's the difference between back then and now. Even calisthenics, back then had a bad rap. You see the women in the tights and in the mirror doing the moves, and that was the idea of it. Now, we understand HIIT training, high intensity training, and so high interval intensity training. And so that, being incorporated also increased cardiovascular. And another thing is a lot of the bodybuilders, once they, left the stage, many of them died early from heart attacks like that, because they didn't have the proper balance, as well as steroid use, of course, but they didn't have proper balance of, cardiovascular and weight training. And so all of those things played a factor in the development and just the advancement of fitness over time.
Hey man, that's awesome. No, you're right. You got a point with that bodybuild with the steroids. That's one of those things I've always wondered how many people were on steroids on stage because it didn't seem like anybody was clean, from because everybody was just it was part of the narrative that you get like me, you can have my muscles, you never lose it, you get it, you get it. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's not true. Something's wrong with this person. It's like something got big and something had to get small, just to make it clear, because they don't. It didn't sound something like that was big enough to be the case, because you gotta lose something to gain something. It sounds like, because that didn't seem normal. But well, one thing that comes to my mind when I think about what you're saying, it's such a crazy time how health has changed over the years. And I think one of those bigger things is like the health trends. Like I've noticed, like people say, "Oh, you shouldn't eat eggs no more because of cholesterol." Like cholesterol's not bad. I mean, eggs are good. They're good. It's one of the top highest vitamin D's.
Yeah, it's who's controlling the narrative, man. Because that the whole cholesterol and eggs, was a thing because of a documentary, because of
Yeah.
a study talking about blocking arteries, and then everybody thought eggs were bad. They gave eggs a bad rap, and then it's also about commercialization and making money. Like, okay, what can we do to make more money, or what can we do to demonize this or demonize that? Because there is like, there's documentaries for everything. Like, I seen one about meat, seen one about eggs, and I mean, it's just whoever's controlling the narrative, man. And so you just have to be careful, because you can literally right now Google eggs are good for you, and you can get a whole bunch of stuff that say eggs are good for you. You can say eggs are bad for you, and you can get a whole bunch of stuff that say eggs are bad for you. So there's so much out there. Especially, that's the downside of having Google and the internet and all of that, because you literally can Google search your way into your own philosophy and feel like you're right, just because somebody else agrees with you, man. And that's the downside of all of that.
Man, it's so prosperous seeing that, bro. Like, anything that you say could be looked at as wrong. But the thing is so crazy. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I miss the simple times, man. It was so simple back in the day. And now we have to be careful what we look up on Google. It's like you can't trust Google, even if you do look up the right intentions, because
Yep.
you could be thinking, because I know a lot of vegans are probably watching too, because I know a lot of vegans have that voice now where they're like, oh, meat is this, but then the meat eaters, so the vegans, well, for us to have your veganism, we have to kill these things to get this and then get on a truck. You telling me that we killing animals? You doing more damage than the meat eaters,
Right.
So what's the point of vegan being as vegans? It doesn't make a difference. It's more of a, I'm killing more of the environment to get more of this, but you're doing the same exact thing. And it goes to that one scripture. I forgot what scripture it was. It was Corinthians or Hebrews saying, don't judge them for their meat or whatever, meat or not meat eating. I mean, because they say don't judge a man by that to be the problem is their food is not the issue. If it offends you, I'm not going to eat in front of you if you don't like meat. That's the thing.
Yep.
I'm not going to do that. And that shouldn't be the cause of people to think otherwise of why you should not eat meat. Like, if you don't want to eat meat, just don't eat meat. That's up to you. But don't make it a sin if it's a heaven and hell issue. I think people should eat meat because it's a quality of life that we're enjoying with the product, And my next question leads up to what's your thoughts on keto? Because that's been one of those topics for years I've heard about, man.
So, I mean, I've seen it work.
Okay.
I've seen people do it and work. My issue with keto is the sustainability, because most people will make it through the keto flu, see results, and then binge, slip up and come out of ketosis and then like binge and gain all the way back. Like, I've seen that countless times, unfortunately. I think if somebody has the right intentions and somebody is focused and they can make it a lifestyle, it's doable. But I'm also partial because because of the company I work for, we don't have we don't focus on that. We focus on whole foods. We're not looking for the high in fat, whatever. We focus on whole, all natural foods. But like I said, ketos, it seemed like a fad to me because it came out of nowhere. And then it was really popular. Everything was keto, this, keto, that. But just from what I've seen with people that I know personally that actually did it, I'm not sure about how sustainable it is, which is, that's part of fitness. One thing to lose it, man. It's another thing to keep it off.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, there's been a rise of conversations lately I've seen with the people who are saying like carnivore, it's called a carnivore diet because Jordan
Oh, yeah.
Peterson. Yeah, what do you think about that? 'Cause I thought that was pretty interesting. I've heard the story about how he was about to die. He has eaten meat and salt for a long time in the water, I guess. So, what are your thoughts about his situation on Jordan Peterson and that whole situation where Michaela Peterson, his daughter, was trying to teach everybody like that's all they ate because it was just healthy for them?
I mean, bro, like,
I won't put you on the spot because I know you're watching. Like, he better not say that.
yeah, no, I ain't no beef whatsoever. No, like, what, if whatever works, man. I'm in the camp of,
Yeah.
if it works, work it. As long as it's healthy, if it works for you, that's fine. Going back to that verse you mentioned, don't criticize me or condemn me if I'm not in the same vein with you, or if I'm not doing what you're doing, and I won't do the same. I'm not a hater. Like, if if the carnivore, if you want to go that route and it works and it's sustainable and you're happy with what you have and what you're going through, more power to you. That at the end of the day, as long as you're happy and you're seeing the results that you want to see, I'm cool. But if you're not, holler at me, because we got something that's better.
Exactly. Hey, we got the best one. Hey, I think it really matters because you got to eat the right quality of meat. I mean, because you could buy conventional meat. It's just it's funny because I thought about how do people just buy the meat from the store? Because back in the day, the butchers were more of the guys who get the right meat, right? And they chop it up for you. But now you're just getting chicken that's pretty much punctured full of water and it's overgrown, or it's probably a fast meat product. Like I don't know if you ever use different products for meat subscriptions, but I follow a company. I'm not paid by sponsor to say this, but Crowd Cow is one of those companies, and I use their beef that's grass fed and it comes from other farmers who raise their cattle, and they're not backed by any of these Tyson companies like Chicken Tyson or the beef companies that are all popular, with their brands, but they're alone. Like if you don't know, bro, if you live in a by any Amish people, dude, those guys take care of their meat. Like they really care about their animals. Like they will sell it to people to give them the right quality. I think the Amish is like the untouched history of people on this earth. But the thing is, they still got problems. You know what I'm saying? But they good. They good people. But the thing is, I would say, guys, if you do buy meat out there who are listening, be sure to go through meat subscriptions. I know Butcher Box is one of the popular ones. I don't follow them, but I do Crowd Cow. If you're interested, I'll put the link in the description. And also, guys, for fitness, I'll put Dawains stuff in the description. But the reason why I'm saying this, guys, because I think with our health today, we are really looking at a different time because after COVID, right? Um, with that happening, how did you guys get through it? Because I never asked this question before when I was, going through it myself. How did you guys go through in North Carolina?
What, COVID?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it hit here like it hit everywhere else, man. I mean, I had it, survived it. I will say that my timing of getting it was good, because if I would have got it 65 pounds heavier, it may have been a different outcome. Because I was in better shape physically, I was able to not have to be hospitalized. I had a cough, fever, all of that stuff, down for about 4 days. Couldn't really do anything. But, again, because of I was in a great place physically, I was able to fight it off, and not for it not to be severe. I lost a lot of friends to it, friends and family members,
Man, sorry to hear that.
because of their current health. They weren't in the best of health. When they caught it, I 3 guys off the top, Steve, Mark, and Derek, man, all 3 of those guys were all overweight, got COVID, and all 3 passed because of it. So it hit here like it did everywhere else. I think your physical, being fit, helps protect against it, helps you fight it off better. I'm not vaccinated, never been.
Same here. No vaccine
Yeah,
this year.
yeah, and got it that one time, never got it again, and was able to survive it, man, because of where I was physically. So I'm a wholehearted believer in that.
Man, that's awesome. And shout out to you and your family, man. I'm glad to hear you guys made it through because, I don't think I lost anybody close to me from the COVID, of course. But I do understand that a lot of people did lose people from it, and I'm sorry to hear you lost some friends and family. It's unfortunate because no one wants to lose people from a sickness. It's kind of funny how famine, how it works, and it is. We're in those times. We're aware. We're not stupid people. We have to understand we're in a different time, biblically speaking, but it is coming to a point where we are seeing a lot of it happen, and it's not coincidence. It's for a reason why it's happening. We can't say here, but we get it. We have to be mindful of the times. But Dwayne, one thing I want to ask you is for the ladies who are out there who are trying to be healthy. Now, I know a lot of ladies are scared to work out in some areas, maybe because they think they may get buff or something. But can you give some advice to the ladies out there who are maybe a little smaller or who are probably a little different on the other side that want to what do you give for the advice for ladies who are new to the gym? What do you give advice for the ladies who are trying to work hard on themselves to be fit and get a lifestyle going for that?
I mean, I guess it depends on what side of the aisle. First, I'll address the, not wanting to be bulky. That is a huge misunderstanding. In order to be muscular like that as a woman, it calls for hours and hours of gym work, hours and hours, and some steroids. It calls for some hormone manipulation. Those ladies that you see with the really, really big arms and you think it looks gross. Women, your body is built to be feminine, and so if you take exercise serious and you start lifting and things like that, I think you'll be actually happy with what your body does as far as that transition goes. And it'll give you more leaner look, more tone is the favorite word that women likes to use, more tone look. Then it won't be more of the bulky muscular. For those that are wanting to venture into the world of the gym, man, which I know can be an intimidating place. My advice for you is if you find you a gym, go, and the day before you work out, go in plain clothes and take your notebook and find all the machines you want to try and say, okay, I want to do this machine, and find out where it's at in the gym the day before. And then the next day, when you're ready to work out, you know exactly where everything's at. You walk right up to it. You do your workout, and you feel confident because you're not walking around looking lost. So that's just a little tip that I give. Go the day before, get acquainted with what's in the gym and where it's at, and make your plan on how you want to attack it. And then as you finish that workout, walk around and look for other machines that you want to try the next day. Then you come back, and just knowing where things are will give you confidence in the gym. And then for those that are on the heavier side, that want to get started, I say start somewhere. If it's just walking, walking is a great form of cardio. There's people in our program that did the meals and walked and still lost about 40 to 50 pounds in 8 weeks. So walking is an amazing thing that we can do, that you always can do, that everybody can do. And it's a great way to get started into your health journey.
Man, awesome. That's good information to give. Thank you, Dwayne. And ladies, please hit up Dwayne because he knows what he's talking about. I think he's the great example for what he said he's been through. And I think he's a pioneer for a lot of this, for especially in the Black community, how many don't understand. We need to be able to reach out to people, even if you don't feel comfortable picking people outside of the culture. Pick somebody that's familiar, that know what they're talking about, and they can hear you out. And it's not just being Black, but it's also being able to hear other people who may not look like you. Because sometimes you got to step out your comfort zone, because you may not be around that kind of people who may be able to help you that look like you. Be open to hear, to get correction, to get better. And I'm not saying take demands or take it like it's harsh, but you want to be the best of yourself to be the better version, because the person that you're facing is you. You are your greatest enemy, especially in this life that we live. We hold ourselves back no matter what, if we don't continue to seek out to be better than our previous self from the year before that and the day before that and yesterday. It's just, we got to be willing to hear these tips and life changing decisions we can make for the future. I know it's not easy, but it's worth it. And Dwayne is an example of what he did. He's been through so much. And I've watched him. I mean, I pretty much had I kind of felt like watching Dwayne was growing up in my eyes, like from 20 to 30. I mean, it's crazy. I'm 30 now. So, and Dwayne, how old are you right now?
41. Just turned 41 January 5th.
Happy birthday, bro. Yeah, 41. Oh man. See, he's in his. Would you kind of say prime right now? Because your prime years are.
Man. I don't know. I'm better now than I was, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Physically, mentally, spiritually, financially.
Well, you know what? It sounds like you are in a better space, because I can hear it in your voice, and you got the cheerfulness in you, and God has definitely brought you a long way. And I'm thankful to see that for you. And I'm definitely glad I could support you, because I will look at your plans. I have considered joining your organization, especially with the stuff you've been doing. Because, like I said, I've had my journeys and my ups and downs, and I have all the knowledge on what to buy, what to not to buy. But I think it's just a matter of community, and I am in the organization too. But I think I need more help on other areas that I may be struggling because sometimes people are busy. You can't call everybody. You can't call you every day. You got a schedule now. I have to go through to get to you. To even set this up. And I respect it. I'm like, man, Dwayne is a businessman. He ain't got no time for unless you called it. You got to put 30 minutes on the phone, Moses, on my app. Go to the app, put the 30 minutes, and I'll call you on that.
You talked
and
about it, man. Time is
and I,
value, man. You have to value your time, man. If you don't, you're gonna spin your wheels, man. You're not gonna move forward. You have to put parameters. You have to put up guidelines. You have to put up boundaries, because you don't want to bleed into your personal life. You want to be able to. I gotta have family time. I gotta have time for myself. I gotta make time to exercise. I gotta make time to work out. I gotta make time to work. So time is valuable, man. That app is a lifesaver to me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely see that what you're saying is true. I can believe it. Yeah. So guys, with Dwayne, I want to ask you a last question, and you're gonna leave us with the golden, a golden nugget. It'd be my last thing for you. And then this question was the water thing you mentioned the other day when we were talking. Can you reiterate that story again? How the water was created back then? You said water was all we need. And people don't want to know that water is an essential part of us, but water is not just it. It's always in our food that we're getting the nutrients. Water is just supposed to be water, But what else were you telling me that day when can you reiterate that story again?
Oh
Sorry.
no, I was just saying that we think about all the things that God created for us. He created plants that we can eat. He created animals that we can eat if you're not vegan, whatever. But he created one thing for us to drink. One thing God created for us to drink, and that was water. He didn't create tea. He didn't create Kool-Aid. He didn't create sodas. He didn't create, directly. I'll say directly. He didn't create any of those things directly, man. And so the one thing that God created for us to drink was water, man. And it's so essential. I'm amazed at so many people that don't drink water. Like, it blows my mind just to find out so many people don't drink water. But if you don't drink water, I encourage you to start drinking water. Even if you need to do like a artificial additive to get it down in the beginning to get used to it, whatever it takes, start drinking water. Water is going to change. Just drinking water on our program, people drinking water for a week have seen 5 to 10 pound weight loss in just a week, just by drinking a gallon of water a day. So water is super essential. The only drink that God created was water. That's what I said.
Hey man, it's just a fact, guys. Take that in. And then last but not least, for this last part, this is where we end the show with the golden nugget. I think this is a good way to end it because I think you have some incredible knowledge and you've been helpful to a lot of people who've heard this who probably can now look up the things we talked about and also your program and sign up under you. Please sure to send me your commission code so you can get yourself more people on your brand. I think to help them with their journey, because I think it's good to have your fitness program, especially those who are unaware about the starting of their journey. They haven't started yet in the year started 2023. Last thing is, what is a golden nugget you would give people to take from this, especially with the title with the Health is Wealth series we're starting, as you're the first part of the episode and to the series? What would you give somebody today from this message that you want them to know that you probably didn't know that would help them on their journey to get started in fitness and health?
So one thing that I've learned is, failure is not final. Failure is not final. Just because of, society and TV and social media, a lot of times we think if we fail, that, oh, it don't work. No, that's not the case. Failure is not final, meaning that if you fail on a diet or a program, it's not over. Get up, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and get back on it. Our motto with E2M is just keep trying. We're not one of those barking, oh, you better not. That's not us. Our motto is just keep trying. And what we want to accomplish with that is, no matter where you are in your fitness journey, no matter where you are in your life, you can always start with your fitness journey. And if you start and you fail, it's okay. Get up, get back at it. Failure is not final, man. It's just failure. Make it fuel instead of final. So that's it.
Awesome. Guys, this has been a great show, and this is the great first series of the year. It's Health is Wealth series. I'm thankful to Dwayne for coming on. Like I said, his brother's been a big influence on my life, especially spiritual matters and natural matters. He's been a helpful guy and a brother on this stuff. And I know we need more men like him, especially father figures and brothers, of course. And guys, I would not sleep on his program. I would check him out. And also, Dwayne has been open to me about things. I wouldn't deny him any of that information. I would check him out, guys, just see what he has to say. And and if you want to reach out, please, can I put your email in the show notes? Is that okay?
That's cool.
Okay, cool. Because I want people to y'all can reach out to him as Instagram and give me your thoughts on the show. And please, like, ask him questions. And if you need health tips, like I said, reach out to him. But other than that, guys, this has been a great first episode of the series. Dwayne, my brother, thank you for coming on and being on the show for my second podcast. I know it's another one I have to still do today later, but this has been a great show with you. And I think, like I said, I'm here to support you, bro, as much as I can. And I know you started. Are you still selling the Reformish hats and shirts? I remember the hat. I bought the hat back in the day. That was a long time ago. But what else? Are you still selling them? The clothes for the faith?
Yeah. No, I still have it.
Okay.
Bargear.com. I still have that stuff up. If anybody's interested, check it out. It's there if you want it.
Gotcha. I'm gonna put it all in the show notes, guys. Please check his information, check all his product and his merch. Guys, this has been a great time. I had a good time with Dwayne. This is a Tradition and Modern Talks. I hope to catch you guys on the next episode. Please reach out to me at my IG at Moses Dolo DTX and Dwayne's. Well, his Instagram will be on the show notes. Please hit him up. Like I said, ask him any questions. I know he'd be willing to answer and give you guys any advice you're looking for. All right, guys, and this concludes the show. We'll catch you guys next time on episode 2 on the Health is Wealth series. Catch you guys soon. Peace.